This is a mini chainsaw made by Tietoc, at least that's the brand. Picked it up on Amazon, and I thought I would show why I chose this particular model over the others that are available, and then we'll see if it actually works. For my test cut on this saw, as you can see, it's 5 inches across. If you want to go the diameter, you're looking at 15 inches, and you can get an idea of the blade. That's about the maximum it could do, and it probably will struggle to do that. And this is the actual tree that I cut. This is where I made my cuts, and then after I cut the tree down, this is where I cut it off at ground level. One thing that I had to get used to is I wanted to cut this way, but along the ground, the motor was in the way. So I kind of had to reverse and go this way to get that lowest cut so the motor wasn't in the way. You can see where I laid it in the dirt, and it's kind of got clogs right there. So I'll have to clean that out. Maybe that's what the little brush is for that came with it. So something to keep in mind, make sure you turn it this way when you're cutting along the ground. But for me, that was reverse. I would rather cut this way than this way. Just something to get used to. I suppose this way you are cutting away from yourself. You don't have the risk of, cutting yourself, I guess. So maybe there is some science behind that. So I'll change my mind. It's probably best that you cut away from yourself as opposed to towards yourself. So I will reverse my opinion on that. As you can see, I brought this small tree in my garage so we can get a better controlled environment for the video, and I will use it as it should be used on these smaller limbs. It's really designed as a tree trimmer, not necessarily as a chainsaw to cut down large trees by any means. When I cut down the larger part of the tree, I think I was pushing the saw through too much because it does shut off pretty quickly as an overheat protection. So for this, I'm going to try and take my time and see if it will not shut off quite as often. So that time it didn't shut off at all. Again, didn't shut off. And I will note you have to push this little button in first and then the trigger, and then from time to time, don't forget to oil your chain. And if you're trimming a tree that you're going to keep, you should notch the lower part so that it doesn't peel the bark down when you cut it. So I'll just do a little cut here. And now I don't have to worry about the bark peeling when the branch drops. I'm getting to a thicker piece of the wood. So far, I've checked my battery. It still shows fully charged. That was the first time it stopped as an overheating protection. I don't know if I was pushing down or not. So again, it shut off. Again, it shut off. And it seems if I don't push down, it doesn't do that as much. So Got one more cut I can make. Let me see how the battery's doing. Still showing fully charged. So what I'll do is I'll just make a few small cuts. Yeah, I wasn't pushing down, got about 3/4 of the way through, and then that overheat protection must kick in. So for larger wood, you're gonna have to put up with that. But it's still functioning fine. I just have to stop and start over. And this will be my final cut. Oil the chain a little bit. At that time, I for sure let the chain do the work, and it did not overheat, it did not shut off. I just lightly held it and let it work its way through the wood. You saw how much wood I cut, which wasn't that much, but you know, that's what I figured I would do at any one time. I don't have that many trees, and it's still fully charged. So it would do a lot more than what I did today. That's good. It's suitable for light duty. This is probably the maximum. It did cut it. I'm not complaining. I had a few times where it did shut off, but I think I was pushing it so it has a overheating protection. So it shuts it down. Once you just go through the steps again to restart it, and it starts just fine. There's an ejection port on the bottom, and sometimes the chips can kind of clog that up a little bit. So just check it every once in a while. You just tap it and it'll come out. Other than that, everything worked pretty well. I'm happy with it. I'll clean it off after a bit. Put my shield back on it, and I'm good to go. Welcome to my channel. I go by Boiler Dan 1, and I usually make wooden model ships, but I also review any products that I purchase and use in the construction of my models, or in this case, some light duty outdoor tree trimming. If there's a quality problem within 24 hours, it says no return needed. They will provide a free replacement. I don't have any problem with mine, so that's not an issue whatsoever. Put in a little letter of thanks, and it describes their company somewhat. I'm not going to go into details on that. So the important things that you need to know that you get, obviously, the battery. Now this does only come with one battery, but the reason I chose this particular model, this unit was more powerful than the ones that come with two batteries, and I don't think I'm going to need it to do more than just a little bit of light trimming. So we'll see how it holds up. It does show when it's fully charged. You push this button. When you receive it and you push that, it's going to show all 4 charging lights lit. It's not really fully charged. You should charge it. There's a little plug-in. There's a round plug-in here, and the charger comes with it. I happen to have it across the room plugged in because I charged it not too long ago. Sorry, I'm not going to show you that. You get an extra chain, pair of gloves, your owner's manual and safety manual. You're supposed to read that and follow the safety advice. You get a pair of very cheap safety glasses. The temples are adjustable. They will slightly fit over my glasses, so I could use them if I want to. The other reason I chose this particular one, some of the other ones that I looked at did not have an automatic oiling system. This one does. Remove this cap, fill this with chain bar oil, and then you can use that to get it into the little hole. Then you'll push this plunger several times until you get oil on the chain. Comes with a chain guard. There's your chain. This tension is already set. That's pretty good. You get a cleaning brush a Phillips screwdriver, and this is just thumb tight. Pretty simple. I have not run it yet at all, so that's the first time it's ever been connected. I do need to get the oil, so let me go do that. I just bought regular chainsaw bar and chain lubricant. I pretty much filled this little bottle with bar chain oil, or I should say lubricant, and you can fill this reservoir with that. I have that filled up, and now it says your owner's manual will see how many times to push this plunger. This is just a safety kickback mechanism, but I'm not going to cut anything now. I'm just going to try and get the chain lubricated and see what it sounds like. There's also a safety button here. You have to push this in first before the chain will run. Now I know it's lubricated because the lubrication is coming out on my paper there. So that's good, and it says as you're cutting, every once in a while you should press that plunger to lubricate the chain from time to time. When it comes time to adjust the tension, there's a Phillips screw right there, and you'll take this screwdriver, tighten this, and you have to loosen this first. I'm just going to leave it as is because it's got the proper tension on it. When you need to adjust it, that's where it's located. Three main reasons I chose this battery operated mini chainsaw was, number one, it has a brushless electric motor instead of having brushes, so I don't have to worry about ever changing those. The battery was more powerful. Even though I don't get two batteries, it just was a more powerful motor overall. And it has the automatic oiler. You do it with your thumb, but the other ones that came with two batteries, you had to take a small bottle and manually oil that chain from time to time. There was also a fourth reason I chose this particular saw. It has over 4,500, I think it's over 4,600 Amazon reviews, as opposed to anywhere from 7 to just a few hundred of some of the other models. So I thought with that many reviews, the majority of which were positive, I would give this one a shot.